Hello, everyone. This is Philip Carr-Gomm. It's lovely to be with you again for another Tea with a Druid. So do come in, do say where you're from. It'd be great to see you here. And one of the ideas behind these tea sessions is this. Hello, Daniel from Germany. Hi. You're the first in the forest clearing. That's great. And hello, Larry from Hillsborough, Kirsty, Mark, great to see you. So as everybody gathers, let me just say a little bit about the idea behind these teas. Imagine how it would be to visit somebody every week, every fortnight, or regularly in some way. And imagine a friend, a relative, and imagine if every time you met, you talked about, topics that really fascinated you, the spiritual life, and then you meditated together. Imagine how you would feel when you look back on your life and you'd say, oh, did you know old so-and-so, or did you know so-and-so? And you say, yes, I used to go around and have a cup of tea with her or with him. And what would you do? Well, we'd talk about the spiritual life and we'd meditate together. And that would be so good, wouldn't it? And it's something that we tend not to do. It's I was really lucky to have, when I was young, from the age of 16 onwards, is I would go regularly, say once a week, to my Druid teacher, Ross Nichols. And then a bit later in my late 20s to Vera Chapman, who knew and had died by then. But Vera Chapman was the old Pendragon of the order. And both he and she would make me a cup of tea, and we'd sit down and we'd talk about the spiritual life. We'd talk about Druidry. We wouldn't meditate together, however. I think the kind of social restrictions on somebody saying, let's meditate now. Perhaps we were too English, perhaps, I don't know what, for whatever reason, we didn't meditate together. When I meditated with Nguyen, it was at a special meditation group that he ran once a fortnight in his flat, and that was just for meditation. But it would have been great, wouldn't it, if as a young man, after we'd drunk tea together and talked about some aspect of Druidry, he had just smiled and said, why don't we just close our eyes for a few minutes and just go into a meditation? That would have been fantastic. And I suppose that's one of the ideas behind these sessions that I'm doing, and guests who come on this slot as well are doing. Is saying, come and have a cup of tea, and we'll talk about these things that fascinate us, and we'll meditate together. And you might say, well, why meditate together? Why not meditate in the comfort and privacy of your own home? Well, I think we have all experienced perhaps the fact that meditating with either just one other person or in a group of people feels different. And that's, I think, another reason why we do this, is because it somehow feels different. Because we know we're together, whether it's psychological and we just see this wonderful list of people from all over the world and it feels great to be in this community together. Whether, as I believe, it's more subtle than that, we are actually connecting in the trans-rational, the subtle, the other world. Whatever it is, it feels good, and I think it's beneficial. And so let's do this. And in particular today, I'd like to focus on one detail of meditation. We have, in a way, you can say that, the downside is that we're not physically meeting, and it would be so lovely to actually be meeting physically, one-on-one, or just a few of us together. That's the downside. The upside is this incredible ability we have to be all together and to make this a regular event without having to travel anywhere, and to be in the privacy of our own homes and the comfort of our own homes, and to have this as a regular event. So what I'd like to invite you to do now is to join me in a meditation. I hope you've had a wonderful week. And however wonderful it's probably been a bit of a whirlwind as well. I know for most of us it is, certainly for me it usually is. There's such a lot going on in one's personal life and then in the wider world that meditation becomes, in a way, for me, not a luxury or some kind of extra in my life, but an absolutely essential part of my life to maintain equilibrium, to maintain my physical and mental health, I'd go so far as to say, actually. And by going into the particular state of consciousness that meditation brings to one, it enables me to find that still center, so that however bouleversant is the phrase in French, however, I don't know the word in English, however topsy-turvy and however disturbing our lives may be, somehow that experience anchors one, brings a little bit of peace and nourishment to our deep self, our soul. And let's have a meditation now. We normally have it at the end, but let's have it now. And then I want to draw your attention to a particular detail. So let's just do that. And again, if you're not familiar with these things, by all means, just watch and listen and try it later if you like it. But otherwise, you might like to just close your eyes and take in a deep breath. And I'm going to try playing some music. There's a lovely music called Arwen by Nick Gent of the Mind Orchestra. I'll just play a very little bit of it, because I don't know how it's going to translate through the internet and through the system. So I won't play too much of it. But just allow yourself to go deep, just to gradually let go of distractions and become aware of being seated in a clearing in the forest. And as you do this, just become aware of the earth beneath you. There's a way in which you can be firmly rooted in being fully present in your body, but also sensing yourself seated on the earth beneath you, the trees around you, and the stars above you. Sense the solidity of the earth, the stability of it, and all the life in the earth. And as you breathe out, you can just feel your tensions just slipping into the earth. And as you breathe in, the energy of the earth flows up into you. And the energy of the earth brings stability and strength. And you're aware of the trees around you. You breathe in the energy and the smell of the trees. You feel their protection and their power around you. And then sense the energy of the sky and breathe in the energy of the sky. Sense the vitality flowing down into you as you breathe in. And sense the energy of the sky meeting the energy of the earth within the center of your being. And then just feeling settled here in the clearing in the forest. Just listen to this music a little bit and just breathing in and out. Sensing the energy of the moon and stars. Notice how your energy field, your energy body is fed by the moon and the stars in some mysterious way. And then as you breathe in and as you breathe out, see if you can sense the smell of honeysuckle. Just imagine, pretend, or really sense the smell of honeysuckle as you breathe in and breathe out, just focusing on that. And notice how you could go deeper with this. You could spend a good while just focusing on your breath, breathing in the scent of the honeysuckle. And every time your mind wandered, you'd bring your attention back to the perfume of the honeysuckle, the in-breath and the out-breath. And every time you did this, you would be strengthening your powers of concentration, your ability to meditate deeply. But for now, we're going to gently finish our meditation by just becoming aware of the earth beneath us and sensing ourselves placing our hands on the earth, giving our love to the earth. And you may want to sense how there's a group of people all over the earth doing this at exactly this time, sending love to the earth too. And then you move a palm of your hand or both your palms up to your heart, feeling its warmth in your heart. And you take in a breath and you breathe out slowly. And you gradually allow your awareness of being in this special place to gently fade as you become more and more aware of being fully present here and now in your physical body. So you allow that awareness of being in the forest clearing amongst the trees to just gently fade as you become aware of being seated here and now, fully present to your body. And then this is the bit to focus on. Just as you finish, you're in no hurry. You just take in a breath. You breathe it out and just gently stretch your fingers and toes. Just open your eyes a tiny bit, looking down, and then close them again. Close them again and settle, and just notice any sensations you're having in the body. Just ask yourself, what am I experiencing in my body? And just feel whatever it is. A tingling here, a tightness there, a warm feeling there, whatever it is, without judging it or analyzing it or thinking about it. Just notice how your body is feeling. Another breath in, and then slowly, when you feel ready, gently open your eyes, looking down at first, and then gradually looking up. Now, the reason I wanted to do this meditation with you was because we have this lovely possibility to research together, explore things together. I know the downside is it's a kind of one-way conversation because I'm doing all the talking, but you can make comments, and so there is a dialogue. First of all, I want you to tell me how it went with the music, because I've never tried playing music before in these live broadcasts, and it's possible that for technical reasons it sounded odd or distracting or didn't translate very well. So if you could first of all type in just, did you like the music? Did you hear it and did you like it, or was it a distraction or a distortion? Just let me know. If you liked it and it kind of worked, we can play with this some more and use them in future meditations. Lots of little hearts bubbling up and thumbs up and all the rest of it. So I'll be really interested to hear that. So it worked, says Laura. It was really awesome, said Kika. Music is nice, says Terry Lynn. Great with the music, says Annabelle Sophie. Okay, well, that's lovely to know. Thank you. And thank you to Nick and the Mind Orchestra for his Arwen chant, which you can find on Spotify. You can find it on iTunes. You can also download it for free off a site that Nick gives on his Mind Orchestra site. So that's lovely to know it works. Fantastic. Okay, now second issue is I thought it would be interesting to talk about the way we end meditations, because very often that is not talked about so much. A lot of stress on the initial liftoff process, the induction, what technique you're using to get to the state you want to get to, whether you call that how you move from emitting primarily beta brain waves to alpha brain waves, whether you talk about it, how do you move to a deeper level of consciousness, how do you gain access to the other world, whatever terminology you use, that's the sort of the method you're using, a mantra, a visualization, breathing, music, whatever it is. Okay. So we can talk about that in the future, and we all know probably quite a lot about that and have our favorite methods and so on. Coming back is supremely important, I think. And the analogy I would give is to, when you have a wonderful massage or you have an aromatherapy session with somebody, and there's that wonderful moment when the treatment is finished, they've worked on you, and then the therapist says, and you're in that wonderful subliminal state, half asleep perhaps, and the therapist whispers, I'll just leave the room now to give you time to come back when you're ready, or something like that. Come out when you're ready. And they slip out of the room and you hear the door close, and then you just lie there. I remember the first time Pamela gave me a shiatsu in New Zealand, I fell asleep for about 3 hours. Normally, normally it's, just a few minutes, you sort of lightly doze or just integrate. But that's the time when such a lot of the work is done of consolidation. It's like your body soaks up the kind of good work that's been done. And I believe it's the same thing in meditation. That coming down, however you want to term it, or coming up, if you feel meditation is taking you down, then maybe this is coming back up to the surface of everyday consciousness. Or if you feel it's taking you up, you're coming down, whatever analogy you want to use. If you can give it some time, that's really good. When they teach transcendental meditation, they're very good about that business of, they say, open your eyes with innocence. There's that sort of looking down where you're not overwhelming your brain with masses of sensory input by lifting your eyes up, taking in the whole world, but you're just looking down a little bit, closing your eyes to absorb that wealth of sensory data that comes in, and then settling and opening your eyes again. And I think it's really helpful to do what I suggested, which is as a final detail, to become aware of your body state. If you do that, if you just spend a few moments noticing how your body is feeling without thinking about it, analyzing it, judging it, wishing it wasn't there, wishing you weren't feeling sick or didn't have a pain or whatever it is, or loving, even being enthusiastic about the fact that you're feeling fabulous, but just simply dispassionately noticing it. What you're actually doing is you're helping your consciousness to be fully grounded in physical reality, in your physical body. So you're less likely to have this experience. I don't know whether you've ever had this, where you finish a meditation. This can happen with guided meditations. When somebody guides you down, and the guiding down takes a long time. So you come down, and then they keep talking, guiding you down. You spend so long going down that you start to go up again. It's a bit like a plane that's coming into land, and you think you're landing, but then you take off again. You go, ooh, I'm going back into my meditative state because the guide is taking so long, I may as well take off again. Or they lift you off with their words or whatever. Or you're on your own and you do that. If when you come back to yourself at the end of a meditation, you focus on noticing what's happening in your body, this, I think, really helps you to benefit from a meditation. In sophrology, which is a system that I've trained in and love very much, and have a book coming out tomorrow actually called Empower Your Life with Sophrology, it's an absolutely vital part of the process of working in sophrology and in meditation and dynamic relaxation, as it's called. It's called the integration pause, because that pause, those few moments, are seen as the time when things become integrated. So just a suggestion, and again, do write your notes on here. If you'd like to come wham back and just open your eyes and you're fully engaged with life, that's great and interesting. Do tell me. But I think this little detail of noticing your body sensations, paying attention to them, and just allowing yourself time to do that before coming out gently, is a detail in meditation that can be really helpful. So Nancy West says, yes, really love this meditation, and stopping near the end to tune into body sensitivity. Really good way to come back to ground. So there we go. Do tell me how you feel. And it's lovely to hear that, so it seems that the music, I shall make a cup of tea and read it. And then, instead of going to bed in a couple of hours, I've been invited out to a performance by Killing Joke, a band youth, Martin Glover, who's a record producer and is a band member, and a Druid, a proud Druid who received the Order's Mount Hemus Award. He's playing in Brighton and has invited us along. So I shall resist going to bed and put in my earplugs and go into the Concord Club in Brighton and go clubbing. So I hope you have a great evening too, and a lovely week, and I'll see you next week. And meanwhile, I shall make some tea and read your comments. So great to see you. Bye. Bye. Lots of love.